Hello and welcome to Will It Roll. We have 3 more cars for you today. Up first, this one has been requested quite a lot on all sorts of videos. It is the VW Rabbit or Golf, depending on where you're from. Quite why it changes name depending on what country you're in, I don't know. But yes, there we go. This has got 90 horsepower, so it's not exactly the most powerful car we've ever had, but it does only weigh 2,100 pounds. It's also one of the first hot hatches that were ever made. It's not quite the first one, but it's one of the very early ones. So the pros on this is actually a very fun car to drive. It's not particularly fast, but you can sort of chuck it about into corners, and it's just sort of, yeah, good fun to drive. It's also relatively cheap. 5,000 credits isn't exactly much. The cons, well, it is an F-Class car, and overall it isn't particularly fast. But yeah, it is fun to drive, probably more than fast. So that's kind of okay. So getting this car to roll is rather tricky, much like the Beetles and the KA. The lack of speed does kind of prove it problematic. I even tried using another curb to get it to roll and then managed to get a massive tank slapper going. Don't quite know how I managed that one, but yes, it isn't the fastest car in the world. Because it is on road suspension, I should point out this car here is standard. Yeah, it was kind of difficult. It got on 2 wheels, which made me think that it was quite possible doing this as standard. But yeah, the lack of speed is sort of problematic, I guess. As again, you see there, it gets quite a lot of suspension travel in this car. The suspension must have been very, very soft on it. But yes, it didn't actually take as long as I was expecting to roll this thing standard. Here we go. That's rolled, and now we're going to do multiple rolls. And it's on its... oh, it didn't quite land on its wheels. But yes, there we go. That's the VW Rabbit roll, completely standard. Didn't take anywhere near as long as I was expecting to roll that one, despite its lack of speed. But there we go. I'm quite pleased with that one, I have to say. Now, up next we have got this. This one has been one of the most requested cars we've had. It is the Bugatti Veyron. I don't have the Super Sport DLC, so we're just rolling the standard one. 987 horsepower. It does weigh quite a lot though, 4,400 pounds. Yeah, I'm not a particularly fan of the Veyron, I have to say. I can't really explain why, I just don't particularly like it. The pros to it are, well, it's incredibly fast in a straight line, we all know that, and the acceleration is phenomenal as well, because it's 4-wheel drive. The cons are, well, it's not really that nice for a car to drive. The handling isn't really that good, and I can't really tell if it's just because it accelerates so fast that it kind of catches you out when you need to start braking for corners and stuff. But yeah, the handling is just not quite as good as I'd like. In fact, it's pretty terrible. I guess it's to do with the 4-wheel drive and the extra weight and the sort of amount of speed this thing can carry. Now there are some real problems with trying to get this car to roll. Much like with the Aston Martin and the NASCAR we had last week, when you go to take the corners, normally you would take it flat out. That's what we're doing most of the cars that we've been trying to roll here, and in racing you take it flat out as well. The problem is, the Veyron is so fast that it does that if you take it with any speed. It's so fast and so little turning that if you take any sort of speed into the corner, you're going to hit a wall, which means that I was having to try and take it slower to avoid keep smashing the car up on the wall. I know we are going to inevitably roll it, but I don't like having the car like a complete wreck before we start because it looks a bit rubbish. So yeah, I was trying to kind of take this corner a little bit slower so you could actually get the car around it, but it just did that every time you got it onto 2 wheels, which is, yeah, it's not fantastic. This is the car that by far took the longest this week, because yeah, I was trying to take this. This is sort of about 90, 100 miles an hour trying to roll it, and somehow I managed. I don't know how I spun it there. But yeah, that's the sort of speeds that we were looking at. I mean, the Rabbit rolled at, what was that doing, 50, 60 miles an hour? I think it probably went nearer 60 or 70. But there we go, that's just what the Veyron's doing. It's just sort of going over the curb, and yeah. So it was time for some upgrades. Suspension, I just raised the ride height, that's all I did, raised the ride height suspension. Yes, it's changed colour. I forgot what colour I'd used when I did the other filming to get the one out of my garage. So it's now a red and black one. For this bit here, to actually get it to roll, basically I had to attack the corner flat out. Even with the raised suspension, I had to be flat out to get it to do that. And you know you are going to hit the wall and hit that tyre bundle pretty hard. I did try flat out a few times with an unmodified one, it still wouldn't roll. So there we go. That is a Veyron being flung at the wall, and it did manage to roll. It even did a front flip after hitting the tyre wall. But there we go. The final car. This is a Dodge Ram. I think quite a lot of people were suggesting pickup trucks, and someone was suggesting a Ram. So I went for the Dodge Ram. I'm not really sure why over the Selena. I quite like the Dodge Ram. Okay, so what do we got for the Ram? It's 500 horsepower, which makes it quite a blooming powerful pickup truck. It does weigh quite a lot, 5,100 pounds, which makes it the second heaviest thing we've ever had behind the Hummer. The pros on this, well, it could just about carry anything. It is humongous. It's also relatively fast, considering this is a huge pickup truck. Its top speed is like 160. The cons are, well, it is very, very, very big, and one of these wouldn't fit down most English roads. I don't even think one would fit down the road where I live, because they're just humongous things. However, for rolling, well, it's not going to be particularly hard. This is my first attempt with it, and there we go. Yeah, that's nearly went over the first time. This is a very tall car, so the centre of gravity is quite high, making this pretty easy to roll over. It's also very, very fast. So I was going back to sort of set up my second run, and I managed a first, and that was roll it off a completely different curb. There we go. I had seen that curb a few times there, and I was wondering if I could get a car to roll off it, and the Dodge Ram it succeeded in falling off a different curb. So there we go. That is all 3 cars rolled today, and still nothing is beating me. And most of these cars were kept standard, except for the Veyron that was slightly modified. So yeah, sorry, I'm slightly dying. I don't know, I got cold or something. But anyway, we'll leave you with a super slow-mo with the Ram, mainly because this is the only one where the camera doesn't get stuck behind the fence. For next week, we're going to try something a little bit different. Rather than having 3 cars to roll at sunset, what I want you to do is to suggest a track. Now, I will pick either the most requested or the most voted up comment on which track to do, and then I will try and roll a car at that track. I will be picking the car. So yeah, that could be quite interesting. I'm suspecting you guys are going to be mean and give me a track with like no curbs, and that'll be very, very challenging. But yes, that is it for this video, guys. So thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.